we can control.
What's up everyone, this is Therese Allen aka T-zer reporting from a live story here in Amsterdam. Today we're going to talk with a very special person. Her name is Bukky Ayo and she's the founder and the CEO of Femmetitude. Now let me just go back to how I even got into Femmetitude. I saw an ad, basically a dance class. I entered 1.5 years ago and I haven't stopped since. Femmetitude is so much more than a dance class and we're going to talk all about it today. But first, let us introduce Bukky Ayo from Femmetitude.
I want to say hi. Hi. Yes, my name is Bukky Ayo, and first of all, I want to say welcome and thank you so much to each and every one of you. My goal is to plant a seed in every person that gets in touch with Femmetitude. My vision is to be who I needed when I was younger and to create a global brand where we have a group of women, let's call it a sisterhood of women, who empower and encourage each other to really stand in their true feminine power. You're doing great, Daniel! Give it up for Yetta!
Here's some things you should know about Bukky. She grew up in Belgium. She has a Belgian mother and a Nigerian father. As in a lot of small cities around Europe with less diversity, Bukky Ayo faced racism quite early in her life. Growing up, dancing became one of her biggest passions. And when it was time for her to choose an education, she picked a dance education and moved to Rotterdam in the Netherlands. Bukky Ayo graduated the school as a professional dancer, but also got into a burnout. Today, she's running dance classes, boot camps, online courses, and much more. And as a bonus fact about Bukky, she is currently pregnant with her first child together with the Dutch rapper Ore Cass, who she also happens to have a vlog with. So before we get into this, hit that like button, comment below, and don't forget to subscribe. Let's go! Hi, Bukky Ayo! How are you doing?
I am doing great. I'm doing good. I'm enjoying beautiful weather. I'm also enjoying the current situation, even though it's a lot, but I'm still enjoying. So I'm doing very well. Thank you.
Nice. I mean, right now you're running online programs. It's going to start next week. We're going to get into that. But you're actually keeping yourself really busy as well during these times. Quarantine ain't got nothing on you.
There's also moments where I do absolutely nothing, though.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't we all? Don't we all? Why I wanted to do this interview with you is not only are you an amazing woman that inspire other women to be the same, but also you have done so much. Not only have you been a professional dancer, model for like Hunkemuller, running now online program, having boot camps. I don't even know where to start. I'm so excited that you are joining this interview.
Thank you. Well, thank you for inviting me.
So excited. All right. So let's take it from the top. You're from Belgium. You're not from the Netherlands. How was it for you growing up in Belgium?
It's a world of difference with the Netherlands. Even though it's neighboring countries, it's just that people are so different. And with that, I mean, in comparison to here, there's a lot of freedom. There's a lot of equality. And when I grew up in Belgium, you have to think like 30 years, 20 years back. And I grew up in a mixed family. So my mom is white or is white. My father is black. And we grew up in a mostly, well, predominantly white community or white city or like little city. So whenever we would go out, there would be eyes all over us, you know, we would be like an attraction. So I kind of got used to being the in the center attention, or like being the point of view from, or the point of attention from people. I kind of got used to being that, wow, let's just look at her for a second. You know, I was used to people looking at me, but I also started to realize that, you know, it's not always a good way that people look at you. You know, sometimes they have different opinions, and to me what seemed normal to them was very weird. And I came across that since I was 7. I had like incidents about racism and discrimination, and I saw it with my father as well, because he was black, I mean darker than me even. So I mean, growing up in Belgium it wasn't all bad. I mean, I got, let's say, when I'm as in comparison to now that I'm here, I might say that I grew up maybe a little bit naive, because I was like protected from a lot of violence and negative things as well. But at the same time, the racism and the discrimination had like a huge impact on me as a person, and not only as a dancer, but just as like, who am I as a woman, you know, and back then as a child. So I think that's like the biggest thing that impacted my youth and childhood.
And like, was dancing something you got from home, or where kind of did that enter your life?
Well, I was at school. I was always the tallest. You have to imagine me being like 1 meter, 70 centimeters, and I'm like 11, 10 years. People are like, what are you, like 20? And I was always like one of the guys, because because I had to grow up biting off of myself and like having a big mouth, standing up for myself. I was a little bit like a tomboy. And then I was always playing football with the boys from my class, so I wasn't doing all the girly stuff. But then I was always like really aggressive and falling on my knees, and every evening I would come home with bruised knees and like everything covered in blood. Like, what did you do? And then there was once like this joke that my father made. Okay, we're putting you on ballet. You know, you're gonna go do ballet. But we were actually in the midst of, or I was in the midst of taking like music lessons, like the let's say the class before going into a violin class or piano class, so just learning notes. And then we had to choose, but there was also dance in the school that I was taking, and I used to always walk past there, and I thought, you know what, I want to do that. So it wasn't like one parent necessarily pushed me more, or one parent was already dancing. It was more so that I needed a creative outlet where I could use my whole body and also like express what I'm feeling. I mean, I couldn't really do that in football. So dancing was a nice way. I also really liked the way people were dressed. And yeah, it was just, that's kind of how I got into dancing. Like, stop bruising yourself by playing football and channel your energy into something else.
Almost like a threat. Yeah. And what kind of dancing was it? What kind of dancing did you first get exposed to?
I started dancing ballet when I was 7, so I think it was just a little bit before I got 7. And I mean, it was just 1 hour a week back then, so you don't have to expect like this real ballet school. It was just like after school amusement or entertainment, something like that. But it really triggered me because they did really teach in this specific, how shall I say this, with a lot of respect to your body way, a lot of discipline. And I think that's what triggered me. So it wasn't necessarily the part where you could have fun, but it was more so the part where, you know, it was restricted, but you had so much opportunities, and like you could do so much within these restrictions. Because in ballet, you know, a plie is a plie. I mean, you have a grand plie and you have a demi plie, but it's a plie. Your body is in one posture, it's in one shape, which is correct or incorrect, you know. And to me, that restriction kind of felt like the perfect balance to my, I'd say, not so restricted self and chaotic mind and everything that I was going through at that time. So it kind of balanced me. But it was definitely the classical ballet. And I must admit, this is so funny, I also really liked watching back in the days MTV and like these music channels, and then watch people's video clips and just go put on a skirt and like dance to the music. Yes, I think that in combination with like the balance between restriction or technique and chaoticness, that was really what triggered me to do it. Yeah.
And what made you go from, oh, this is a hobby I do once a week, to, yeah, we're jumping quite a lot of years now, but you actually applied for a dance education, wanting to be a professional dancer.
Yeah.
How did it become from a hobby to like, this is what I want to do as a career?
So I think how old was I? Probably was like 16 or maybe almost 17 when I applied to go to a professional or semi-professional school. And I think I was going through a lot at that time. So going to my dance class twice a week after school was really that moment that I had to myself. That was really where I could spend my me time while actually working on myself. And then I must also admit that I was good at it, you know, and not necessarily that it wasn't that I was a bad student in regular school, but I felt the immediate appreciation. And when you do something right, my teacher back then, she used to tell you when you were also doing something right. And I think I missed that in within other schools or other places. So I really found that piece of appreciation and that safe space. And then I just wanted to be in that space like all the time. I was like, oh my God, I remember like after my class, we would not even go home. We would still be at there just chilling in the dressing room, maybe for 2 hours more. And my parents would be like, Jesus, don't you have any homework? Yeah, class ran out or something like that. But I decided, you know, not only am I good at it, my teacher sees a lot of potential and I really like this. So I thought, okay, if I could do this like 24/7 or like make my literal job out of this, how amazing would that be? So I first applied to a school because I was living in Belgium in a city where they didn't have like professional education. So I had to travel to Antwerp. And then I went and auditioned for one school, the Royal Ballet School, and I didn't get in because they really wanted you to have like this super classical background. And I auditioned, by the way, for the modern classes, or the modern division. And so I didn't get in, but that wasn't all, because you also had Kunsthumaniora, which is like literally based on or for contemporary dance. And I auditioned there as well, and I got in, and I was like, what? I got in? Oh my God, this is crazy. And I was 1 year older than the other students. Well, I mean, we were only a class of 6 people, so it's not like we were, and back then even 8 people. And I was 1 year older, so I already thought, oh shit, you know, that's my disadvantage, that I'm older, because they want people to be small and young and all of that. So even, you know, when I was in that school, I still kind of came across the same things like discrimination, but then based on my body shape instead of necessarily my color, you know, so.
And so how was it for you then? What age were you when you moved to Rotterdam?
When I moved to Rotterdam, I was 19. Yeah.
So you, as a 19-year-old, moved to a completely new country all by yourself. And then on top of that, going into super intense education, where you also face that like body image, and like you don't have anyone really to come home to and talk about
Yeah.
it with. Tell me about what kind of was the biggest challenges that you faced.
Well, I think in my first year, the biggest challenge was, I'm guessing, definitely, well, doing ballet 5 times a week. Because before, when I was in semi-professional school in Belgium, from 17 until 19, I was only having ballet, I think, 3 times or 4 times a week. No, 2 or 3 times a week, ballet, and that's 2 hours in one go. So then we all of a sudden had ballet every morning, 1 hour and 15 minutes, like Monday through Friday. And that was crazy. And I knew when I got into that school, that I was like, whoa, okay, I got in. I know it's like one of the most prestige schools in Europe for modern dance. So I know that it's going to be more technique based than in a contemporary school, for example. But having ballet every day when you don't have necessarily that intense ballet background is like, I felt like I was punishing myself every day so I could still dance, you know, because I wanted to dance, but there was so much more to dance than me than just a ballet. And also, which has not necessarily anything to do with the school, but like moving to the Netherlands for me at first from Belgium, which is just a country that is more to itself and people are more, I wouldn't say like that we don't like talking to people, but I mean, I was definitely in Belgium. I was like just me and my friends. That's it. And if I don't know you or whatever, I don't feel the need, I wouldn't feel the need to talk to you. And here in the Netherlands, everyone was so outgoing. And I was like, mind your own business. Why are you talking to me? You know, that shock. And it's not like I wasn't raised right. I was just raised differently. Like a lot of people in Belgium, to us, maybe talking to someone in the street is like disrespecting their privacy. And here it would mean like acknowledging their existence, or that they're there, you know? So I came across a lot of that in my free time. And then in school, it was just like, oh Lord, how much of this ballet, and these, some people are so good at ballet and they get all the compliments. So maybe it was also that, you know, I had to realize that back in my hometown, when I was like 7 to the age of whatever it was, 17, I was kind of like the best in my class. But then when you go to a professional school and people are in your class who have been taking classes or ballet or whatever at this high level for like 20 years almost, you're no longer the best in your class. So you have to understand that, okay, I'm mediocre for these people. I mean, in comparison to these people for this subject, which is literally black or white and not a gray area, it's, you're not the best. And I think it was also like a slap in my face, like, oh shit, am I going to have to spend 4 years of feeling not good enough, or dealing with those feelings? You know, how do you deal with someone is always going to be better than me? But I think that was one of the things that definitely prepared me. I mean, it got worse before it got better, but I learned so much during this education.
Yeah, because I wanted to get into that, because you graduated the school, but actually got out also with a burnout on top of that.
Yeah.
But there must have been a lot of learning moments, as you said, that prepared you what was going to come to next. When you look back now at that period, what kind of is the biggest things that you take away from that?
So I think what the biggest learning moment, or the thing that really like, that was my key point that I said, I'm going to do this within everything, is staying true to what feels good and what doesn't feel good. Because during my education, those 4 years, there were so many moments where I felt like, I don't like this. I don't want to be here, but I have to, because I'm going for something. I'm pursuing something, a degree where I have to fit in a box. And I was struggling so hard with being put in that box and molded into that box, because I was definitely putting up resistance. And that's why I got into my burnout. Like, who am I? What am I still doing here? But I said, I know one thing for sure, and that I want to graduate and not waste the time that I've already been, you know, investing into this. And then when I graduated, I left with a burnout, and I thought, okay, if I have to learn one thing, it's that I'm never going to do the same thing again, which in that moment was really listening to my feelings and to my gut feeling, saying, how does it feel? Does it feel good? Okay, then you can do it. Do you have any sort of doubt or like issues with this? Then you know what it means. It's your gut feeling telling you don't do it. And then starting my company, I didn't start it right away, because I really had to figure out, okay, but who am I? I had to get out of that burnout to figure out what it is that I actually wanted to do, because it's one thing to know what you don't want, but then knowing what you do want is the other thing, you know? And I think it took a little bit more time for me to figure out what I did indeed want than what I didn't want.
Yeah. And before you started the company that you have today, you ended up in Amsterdam and you started to teach, but it wasn't really exactly what you wanted as well. Can you just describe a little bit about that period as well?
Yeah, so I was teaching Kizomba lady styling back when, I mean, 2-3 years, I think, for a long, yeah, that was a long period, 2-3 years something. But I started because the teacher who was actually teaching those classes, she got pregnant. And I mean, after she had her baby, she didn't come back. So I was just subbing for someone. In the end, it turned out to be my class. But because it's still a class, or yeah, you're teaching something that is not necessarily something that where your heart is. And you don't, I mean, I wanted to teach it my way, not within a program, not within her vision, you know, but because I was subbing for someone, I have to pay respect to what she set up. And then I thought, you know, people come to this class now for me, but I'm teaching my material, but teaching it in like with a mindset or with a vision for what she wanted to do. And I said, why don't I just change that little thing and like teach my thing? People will come for me. I will use my mindset, but with my vision to how I want to do it and what I want to do. And that's when I had the chance to take a studio or rent a studio, I said, you know what, let's just go for it. Let's try. I mean, if you don't try, you'll never know. And that's actually what happened.
That is the scariest part. And I mean, the first time I met you, I had just seen like a little video on Facebook that another kizomba dancer showed me, like, oh, this is Bukky Ayo, and she's teaching high heels. And that was the only thing I knew. So I think that is a concept that you got right away. Like people maybe knew you from teaching lady styling into turning it over to high heel. But can you tell me a little bit how you started with that? Because going from subbing to completely renting now your own studio, opening your own company, what happened?
I stayed in the same studio though. So I was already subbing in a studio who just rented out their spaces for dance classes or I don't know, whatever they do. And then they got a new owner and I thought, okay, I'm going to see how much is it, you know, what are the opportunities here? And I kind of, how shall I say it? I kind of started with the idea, what would I want to do right now? Me, Bukky, being Bukky, right? What do I miss? What would I want to do besides like teaching the lady styling? Because I was still teaching that for like 2 months after I started the company. But I was like, well, if I would go and take a class now, which one would it be? And I felt like I missed a class where you could literally be yourself and be appreciated for who you are. So a little bit what I grew up with as a child with my ballet classes then and my modern classes, then I kind of missed that feeling where you could just not be judged in a class, and especially in dance classes, because dance is such a like, you're doing it right or you're not doing it right kind of thing, the way we teach it or people teach it. And it's actually not supposed to be like that, in my opinion, because dance is different for everyone. And because I was missing something, I thought, okay, well, I can't find these kind of classes, so why not start it? You know, then okay, then this is my opportunity to start this kind of this type of class. And I mean, as you know, eventually it evolved into something completely different. But that's the baseline, you know. I didn't find what I wanted to be a part of, so I created it.
Basically, that was also what I found out when I came to your class. I've been, you know, also teaching high heels, also taking a lot of high heel classes, but they're usually the same structure. Like you're doing this super advanced splits and, you know, turns and all of that. And then I walked into your class, and even though the choreos weren't that fast, it was so challenging because you were like, you need to mean every second of your dancing. And I was just stunned of how hard that was. And like, and I also saw the women around me, and I was like, not only do we have like moms with their daughters here, and we have like 50-year-olds and plus size and skinny girls, like there was just a variety of women. And I was shocked because I never really seen that in a high heel class. And you were just, yeah, for the people who haven't been to your class, it's like you are so supportive during the classes. You're doing so many exercises that has more to do with self-confidence than this is exactly how you're going to point your toes or whatever. And yeah, so I mean, I thought I entered a high heel class, but you started to add on more and more and more of confidence coaching. So when did you decide that? Because that is another type of add-on to a normal dance class.
I think that at first, when I started the normal high heels classes back in the day, like the first 6 months of the company, I realized, okay, I want to dance, and this is something that I do because I want to do it. But as along the way, you know, I realized that other people were struggling with different things. And I thought, okay, I've been struggling with these things, but like years ago. Why don't I help them in that way so I can add value to a class instead of just teaching them dance moves, which they will forget in maybe 2 months because they haven't practiced them. But instead of teaching them dance moves that they will forget, I can teach them value, which they will remember and will maybe even use for the rest of their lives, you know? I think it's a beautiful thing to, when somebody I remember this because someone wrote it on a paper once towards me, and I was like, oh my God. So I think it's a beautiful thing when someone tells you that I'm going to remember you forever. I was like,
Mm.
what? You have an
Wow.
impact on someone like that. And I think that if you can have a lasting impact on someone to change their life for the better, I thought, you know, why don't I make that like my goal, to have impact on these women so they can live a better life? And I mean, yes, a dance class on its own does that too, but I think it does that maybe a little bit more temporary. So I decided that since a lot of these women, I mean, we created a safe space for women of all shapes and backgrounds. And then there was still this one thing that we all had in common, was that we had maybe a lack of confidence, or we didn't know how to pursue our dreams, or whatever it is. You know, there's so many things we teach in the program, but the thing is that we all have this thing in common. And I thought, you know what, why don't I incorporate that in the classes so it becomes more than a dance class? And what I see now is that how Femmetitude is working right now is it uses dance as a tool, you know, to add the intensity of giving that impact and the value. And it's not just like a dance class with confidence coaching. It's more like coaching where we use dance as a tool, as and body movement as a tool to reach that same you know, that same impact level that you can use for the rest of your life. um, yeah, I think I really like the fact, you know, if you can share something with people and help them prevent, you know, to go through the same mistakes and pain that you have been through. I mean, you can never prevent 100%, but you can share your experiences, and then people can already learn from that. I mean, back then in the day, to me, it was like, I've already been in pain, so why should you have to suffer if I can just tell you this is the process? You know, I can help you from my experience and from working with other people, what their experiences were. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that that is also an interesting subject because a lot of I would like to get into a little bit who is actually joining Femtitude because there's a lot of women with different backgrounds, um, and what I notice is that it seems like it's everyone, you know, entrepreneurs, maybe women that has experienced low self-confidence or you know been exposed to abuse. It's just like a very big variety. Why do you think they go to Femtitude to train?
I think it is because the first thing you notice when you do enter a class is that there's no judgment. You can literally be who you are. Even better, you have to be who you are in this class. I will force you to be you and not, you know, put up whatever kind of facade that you're thinking of putting up normally. I want you to be you, and then I want you to feel what it's like to be around other people but being you, and then people liking you for that. So feeling the value of just being yourself and, you know, being vulnerable, daring to explore, daring to try something new, and realizing that when you're in an environment that accepts you and values you for who you are, people won't look bad at you when something doesn't work out, you know. And I think that's why a lot of people who come to the classes, you know, they return. That's why a lot of people think, oh my God, I want to try, because they try something maybe that they've never done in their lives. You know, I know there's people who have never taken a Femtitude class before, and then when they took their first class, they were like, oh my God, I'm hooked. I want to try new stuff. I want to try more of this, you know, because the feeling of being valued for who you are and learning not being looked down upon, when you don't know something, or when you make a mistake or something. That feeling, of being vulnerable and being liked for it, I think that's what's so valuable.
Yeah, and also like applauding each other when going through those breakthroughs. And I think that that is also a key thing, that you are encouraging all the people in the room to applaud, to share, to scream, to when somebody is like, you know, I mean, we've been seeing tears, we've been seeing people laughing, we've been seeing people saying, "I'm gonna get $2 billion." Like it's been like amazing to see all these emotions, and how like you have like a whole army of women supporting you when you walk across the room. And I think that
Yeah,
that is
it's
a super allowing like platform to
crazy.
be in.
Yeah, I think what you just described is exactly it. I mean, in life, we're so used to, being alone, doing stuff by ourselves. That's kind of like, I'm used to doing this by myself. I'll do it. I know I can do it at least, so I'll do it. It's okay. I'm not gonna wait for you, or I'm not gonna ask you, But then when you come across these women who cheer for you, who clap for you, and applaud, and they're like, what? Oh my God, the energy, the boost that you get within yourself from seeing people admire you and thinking, yes, you can do it. It brings you to this whole different level. Like, it's so much more, and you can do so much more. Like this, I really believe in it. It sounds so cliche, but together we can do so much more. And then when you have these people, cheering for you and encouraging you to do something and telling you it's okay, I'm right here, I'll be there if you fall. I'll be there to catch you if you fall. Just try. And then they see, instead of falling, they're flying, like, oh my God, I can do this. It's amazing. And I think the energy that people get from that encouragement is just crazy. It goes through the roof. Yeah.
And like being now the CEO, the founder, the teacher, the coach, I mean, you have a lot of roles to juggle. What
Yeah.
has kind of teaching this all these women with all these backgrounds, what has been the biggest takeaways for you personally? Because it must have changed you from that first, I'm gonna rent a studio, to what you're doing right now.
Definitely. Definitely. I think back then, I think, as a lot of entrepreneurs do, you go through a whole lot of phases, and I'm no exception to that. I think I started with the idea, oh my God, the first event that I organized, I was like, I'm going to do a 1 hour class, and then maybe then there's going to be like 20 people. Okay, cool. And then while I was preparing, there were like 120 people. I was like, oh my God, so much people. I don't know what to do. And what happened was, it grew so much faster and bigger than I had anticipated. So instead of having like this big preparation time of, okay, these are my steps, I had to go and think in the future, okay, there's this much people. What am I going to do? How am I going to please almost all of them? Because, I want to have you all as my customer. I'm an entrepreneur starting off. So I made mistakes. I started listening to a lot of people. I started listening to what they wanted and giving them what they wanted. But then what happens is, as an entrepreneur, when you don't stick to what you want, for your business, you live in the shoes of somebody else and you're not happy. So I had to come to terms with, okay, if I keep listening to all the things that people want or would wish, and I go for them and I act upon them, and it's not my time, I'm going to be unhappy, which was again me, living the life of someone else, which was like, okay, this happened during school. Remember, this doesn't make you happy. So stop doing that and go back to what makes you happy. And yes, realize that you're going to lose people along the way because you can't please everyone. But then again, maybe you don't have to please everyone, or not yet, or not at all, ever. So I think I made, I came across some lessons. I'll call them lessons, which were now definitely blessings because they made me better. And I learned as an entrepreneur along the way as well. When do you listen to what people want, and when do you listen to what is important to me? What do I want? But also, how do you change a program? Listen to feedback too. If it's not working for them, in what way could it work better? And that's not necessarily like critique towards yourself, but it's just critique on the program or the classes, and you have to be flexible as well. I mean, I think that especially especially now because we're in quarantine, but like as an entrepreneur, like all the time you have to figure out, okay, this is my road, this is where I want to go, like that. But there's gonna come obstacles, and like, oh, maybe this is interesting too, let me go here. And I just had to figure out a way to at least, explore different paths, but keep that idea that I have for Femtitude in the back of my mind, and keep reminding myself of that. So I definitely grew as an entrepreneur, saying, I know what I want. I'm the CEO of Femtitude. It's my company. I'm gonna do for Femtitude what I think is best for it, but not necessarily ignoring all the feedback that I get from other people or the insights, because I do it for them. So it's really finding that balance between what do I want and what do the people want, and then just making your cup and making your little recipe for Femtitude. So yeah.
And I think that, like, the idea, as you say, for what you want for the company, I mean, as any entrepreneur would say, like, don't do it. It's too much work. You have to market, you have to do the planning, you have to do, your own photos and videos, you have to book everything, you have to teach and plan, there's just so much. And
Yeah.
what I think everyone comes down to is, again, like, why do I do this? And I wonder, what is, if you zoom out, I think, on a world perspective, why do you do this? Why do you keep doing Femtitude? And why do you think the world needs it?
Well, the reason why I keep doing Femtitude, or I can't not do Femtitude, I'd like to see it like that, is it's just me. It's who I am. I have found, like, the Bukky that I am within the position of CEO of Femtitude. It's literally become a part of me. There's days when I'm like, I'm so exhausted, but I still feel like I have to do so. Not like I have to, but like I want to work on Femtitude. Maybe I can already write this program, or I can write this live session, or I can write whatever, create this assignment, or okay, let me work on this. To me, it's like, it's when you would say, why do you go running every morning at 6 a.m.? Why do you go jogging? And someone would, you like, are you preparing for a marathon? But the person would say, no, it's who I am. I'm a runner. And to me, I don't know how to say it. It's like, I'm a Femtituder, but it's like, that's who I am. There's no other way. And all the struggles and obstacles that come with it, I allow it to happen because I know it has to happen for me to get to where I want to go. And me getting where I go, where I'm supposed to go, that's my journey. That's my goal in life. I want to get there. That's what I want to do. And I believe I deserve it too. That's a very important one. I deserve it, but I'm also very honest with myself. It's not like this straight road of happiness and all these beautiful awards and, oh, look at me, I'm on an island chilling, and that's not what it is. I mean, there's a lot of hard work that comes with this, but it's worth it. If you're doing something that you love, if you're doing something that empowers you, and that every time when you do it, you get so much in return. And I'm not talking about money, I'm talking about like energy. I mean, that's what I want to do it for. I could keep on going, because I get so much in return. I see all these renewed faces and people like, oh my God, I'm so happy I joined the program. I'm like, oh my God, I have to. I must do this. It's my obligation to the world to do this.
And the world thanks you in advance for for reaching out. We need this. So that is also kind of, to sum it up, I would love you to just explain, like, what is Femtitude right now? What is Femtitude doing right now? And where is Femtitude heading in the future?
Well, today Femtitude is, well, because of this Corona thing, it's a little bit different than what I had actually anticipated or in mind or was working on. But today it's mostly online. It's coaching and empowering women to, well, stand in their true feminine essence and use their potential, to go to the next level in their life. And it's in an online program shape format. We have 2 levels. Well, we're also starting with 2 new levels, so I'm really excited. The next one is, well, level 1 is starting on 6th of May, and level 2, which is the sequel of level 1 for the previous participants, is starting next Wednesday on the 20, I have to say it right, 29th of April. Yes. But in the future, I would really love to go, when all is back to normal. And I don't know when it is, but I do believe that it will definitely come. I would like to still incorporate that physical part in it too, because I do think that opening up your senses and using your body is really there to, like, a powerful tool to intensify your growth. You're opening up yourself, and being vulnerable also starts with using your body, because it's, for so many of us, like this protective shield. If I'm going to be here, you can't touch me. If I'm going to be sitting like this, okay, I'm safe because nothing can happen to me. But if I'm moving and if I'm doing so much, people can already judge me on just how I'm moving. So letting go of that is like the first step. And then I want to, like, really work with the people and what they have to offer, and work with who they are in that moment, and, work on themselves, work on where you want to go, what is, like, trauma that is still, like, underlying in yourself, what are the things that you haven't gotten over, what things don't you know. And I would really, really love to reach a lot of people, because even if it's like that little seed that I'm just planting, and if it's like just one thing that you pick up from it, it could mean so much. If I look at what it did to me, and look at what it did to so many of us that have taken the classes, I'm, like, super excited to see what it could do if we, like, would reach only half of the women in the world, and just plant that seed of what they have and what they can really truly do and mean for the world. And that's just what I want to do. I want to create this chain reaction with impact, and not only through, like, physical things, because I mean, I myself am only one woman. You are only one woman, so we can only be at one place at a time. But I want to make it accessible to women all over the world, and not only create, like, programs where you physically have to be, because I want people to also be able to be self-reliant, know the information and work with it yourself. And so I'm looking forward to writing books. Yes.
Yes.
Workbooks and all of that, online programs, and so much more. Like, I can't stop thinking of new opportunities to come, and how we can spread this message of, strong women, and how to become that woman that you envision in your mind.
Amazing. And I also think it's, that the Femmetitude can be a part of you no matter where in life you are. I mean, we have to say congratulations, because you're also entering motherhood state and chapter in your life, which is also, of course, a part of being a woman. And, entering that it's a new chapter for you, where Femmetitude is going to be a part of that as well.
Yeah.
Are you excited for that as well?
I am so excited. Oh my God. I feel the baby move. And every time when the baby moves, I'm like, oh my, I feel so blessed to finally experience this, or, like, even at all experience it. And also, this is something I had never thought about before, but since I got pregnant, I started thinking of, wow, maybe now I can really, like, reach mothers even more, because I will understand the things they're going through, and I will understand, what they need, because I will become a mother. Like, the doors to motherhood are opening up to me, and I'm like, wow, this is a different world. So I'm also really excited to, like, work with mothers and children, and, because I do feel like now we're really focused with Femmetitude on adults, from a certain age. But I also want to create something that is there for the children, for the youngsters, because I could only imagine what would have happened with my life if I would have had something like Femmetitude when I was growing up, and I want to be able to provide that for children in the future.
So many plans. So many plans. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. So we're almost at the end of this interview, but I think that we're gonna have to come into the advices. So if there's anyone out there that are thinking about starting their own company, becoming an entrepreneur, or just going for a dream, what would be your 3 top advices for them?
Whew, my 3 top advices, if you want to become an entrepreneur or go for your dreams, are, first of all, do it for yourself. Don't do it for anyone else. You have to be 100% completely okay with doing this. You have to stand behind yourself and think, yes, you can do it. You have to be your biggest motivator. You have to be your biggest fan, your number one fan with everything that you do. If you don't believe in yourself, nobody out there will. So that's like the base for your confidence, for people to, work with you, buy something from you, whatever it is. Believe in yourself, and never give up on yourself. That's the very first thing. Do it for you. I think I would say the second one would be flexible. This is a rocky road. This doesn't go like, hey, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm also rich. If that's what you're looking for, Jesus, come on, email me and let me know how it works. If it was easy, it would be easy. Literally, everyone would be doing it, but it's not. So you have to be flexible. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs. For the first 5 years, perhaps it might be a lot of downs, and then when you start getting a hang of things, it might go a little bit more like, oh, okay, I like this. But it could also be like you're lucky draw and be like, okay, mine is going like that from the start. But then also be flexible and think, okay, let me see and calculate in risks. What if it all of a sudden it doesn't go like that anymore? What do I do? So be prepared and be flexible. And the third advice that I would give, this is a difficult one. What is the third advice, T-zer? Come on. Oh my God, I have so much advice to give. The third advice would be, do something that you love. Do something that you love. And don't just jump on a boat because you think, that's what everyone's doing. If the thing that you want to do is unpopular, but you believe in its opportunities and its chances, then go for it. What you have to understand is there's always going to be people who don't like what you do. There's always going to be haters. There's always, no matter what. Even if I walk down the stairs, there's going to be someone in the world who looks at me and thinks, I'm like, that's how she walks down the stairs? That's just how life goes. There's lovers and there's haters. But you have to understand that whatever it is that you want to do, by being authentic and believing in what you do and loving what you do, you're going to attract the right people, the ones that you need for your company to be successful. So literally love what you do, because if your energy and your love shines and people see that, they're going to be attracted and drawn to you automatically. And the people who don't love you and who don't like you, they're going to be there anyway, but maybe they're just going to be there and think, damn, she's so confident or he's so confident about what she's doing that, oh, okay, I must tell her, like, give credit anyway.
That's good. Good job. And yes, do you got your trophy next to you? Because it's a thing in Femmetitude. You gotta show off with your trophies when you do wins. Yes.
Trophy for this one.
And so, the online program starts, for the people who haven't taken it before, it starts the 6th of May. Now, if you don't know, like if you're watching this and you haven't really understood what it is that we are going to do in that program, or maybe somebody feel like, oh no, but it's probably not for me, or confidence, it sounds like, maybe somebody's doubting. What would be your 3 why would they take this program, and why is it important for women out there to actually invest in themselves?
Well, first of all, it is important to invest in yourself, because for every person that is in this world, there's a different universe, and it's the universe within ourselves. And within that universe of yourself, the most important thing or person is you. So investing in you is like the best thing you can ever do, because who will, benefit from it directly? You. So you'll get better. You'll become more happy. You'll become more whatever it is. So you have to put yourself on number one and think, if I want to have more for my life, I'm going to have to invest in my life. Meaning that you're going to have to work on yourself. What things aren't you good at? What could you, grow in? And then in the program, what we do is we tackle 4 topics, and these topics individually are spoken on, via a Zoom webinar, where we can have direct questions, but also share experiences, and also, explain a little bit about the assignments that people are going to do about the topic. Because it's one thing to hear something about it, okay, nice. And then by the end of the evening, I don't remember like more than 20% of it. That's like scientifically proven. You can't remember everything that you hear from a class. So how do we want to take in everything that we've talked about or learned during this webinar? Is by doing assignments, is by being active with the material that we just learned. And that's where the assignments come in. And some assignments are like really personal, and we don't even share the outcome with each other because it's for me. I'm doing this for me. I'm writing it down for me. But we can share how it made us feel when we finished or completed the assignment. And like, wow, I never wrote a letter to myself. Well, how does that feel? It was kind of intriguing. Like, I liked doing it, but at the same time, I felt like, oh my God, I'm so nice in this letter. Maybe I should be nicer to myself in regular life as well. So it's like a 4-week program that consists of webinars, assignments, a group on Facebook where we support each other, and there's group coaching, and there's empowering, encouraging people from our program that are just talking to each other, getting to know each other, accountability, because it's one thing to start a program, but to finish it is another, And that's literally how life is. You can start as whatever you want to start, but if you don't finish it, you're kind of letting yourself down. So we're just there to applaud for each other and to cheer for each other and encourage each other, but also, to hold each other accountable when you're not doing what you said you were going to do for yourself. And I mean, this is for people with all backgrounds. So it doesn't matter if you have already taken like 3 seasons of Femmetitude. If I were to look at myself and my past, and I would write something about my past that I haven't completely accepted, I can do this today about one situation, tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, because there's so much that we still have to resolve. So that's why, investing in yourself, it's an ongoing thing. You have to keep doing it over and over again, because, I mean, there's no such thing as perfection. You keep growing, just like space and time around you keeps evolving. With that, you have to keep growing as well. So,
and you can join in from any country because it's online, no restrictions.
It's in English, so if you speak English and you have internet, you're good to go. I mean, you might have to change the time zone, or the time zone might be different for you, so you might not be at 7 because it's at 7. It's 45 minutes of webinar and then 7 days of group support. But you can always, even if you can't make it at 7 for the live session, you can still make it and look at the recording of the webinar in the group. So even if you join in like the last week, you can still take the whole program.
And where do I sign up if I want to take this program?
You go to the website, www.femmetitude.com. Then you go to either programs or buy or whatever. You scroll down and you go to a 4-week online program, level 1. So if you've never taken the online program, start with program 1, so level 1, because this one is really like discovering your true feminine essence, like who am I as a woman and where do I want to go. And then the level 2 is like the sequel. It's like we go a little bit more deeper into subjects, which are actually 5 different subjects, but we go so deep into them that you have like tools to really go forward and be self-reliant, because this is going to be the last time for now that we do this online program. And I mean, summer's coming up. We normally have a summer break always in the normal seasons as we did them before. And I would not want people to just, fall in a black hole and be like, oh my God, what now? So I want people to be self-reliant, or at least, they can take care, continue their journey for the next couple of 3 months. And obviously we're going to be still visible online and on social media, and there the community doesn't go away, so we can still talk and support, but the programs in the active form, this is going to be the last time for now.
And then you can check out later after Corona quarantine is over, boot camps coming up, and exciting times.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking your time out and talking and sharing your story. I think that this is super inspiring for a lot of people. And thank you. You're amazing.
Thank
you so
you.
much.
You're welcome. Thank you for doing this. Also, I want to just give a quick shout out to nobody other than T-zer from A Live Story. I think you're such a dope individual. Oh my goodness. And just you setting this up and doing this for other people, dancers and motivators and speakers and everything. It's just crazy. And it's such a good initiative. And I hope you get such good results with it. Better yet, I'm convinced you will, because this shit is the bomb.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Your support is
Love
everything.
you.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.